Morning, all my crafty friends. Welcome back. This is part 2 of the journal tutorial. So let's get stuck in. Now, what we would have been left with yesterday is your 4 templates for the tabs of your file folders, which look like that. Okay, so if you finished doing them, the next step that you want to do is to grab yourself a piece of paper, a notepad or something, because you're going to need to write down some measurements. Okay, so if you grab yourself paper or a notepad or just a piece of card like I have, so keep it all together in my little template folder. What we're going to do is start making these. So your measurements on here, if you see, ignore that bit at the bottom for now. Okay, your file folders. Now I use a piece of A3 cardstock. It's quite thick. I'm not too sure how thick it is. It's probably about a 200, something like that. Reasonably thick and sturdy. What you're going to need to do now, out of a sheet of A3, you can get 2 file folders. When you've cut your 2 file folders, which will be them, you'll be left out of your sheet of A3 a piece like that, which don't throw this away, put it to one side, because that comes in very handy later for making pockets, etc. So you will need to write down on your piece of paper file folders. Now the measurements for them will be 9 7/8 by 6 1/4, and you will need to make 7 of these. Okay, so if you see, as I said, ignore the rest of that. Ignore the rest of that on there. I just wrote on the top piece of my card, like so. Okay, files 9 7/8 by 6 1/4, and you will need 7. Okay, so once you've wrote that down on your piece of paper, then underneath that I have put for the score marks. Okay, so for the score marks on this, they will need to be 4 7/8 and 5 inches. Okay, that is only the first piece you need to be writing down. Okay, now don't worry about the rest of these at the moment. We will go through them as we get to them. So that top bit there is the only piece you need to write down at the moment. Files 9 7/8 by 6 1/4, and you will need 7. Okay, so that's 9 7/8 by 6 1/4, and you will need 7. And then the score marks, you will need 4 7/8 and 5. Okay, and I'll explain all this to you as we go through. So what you're going to do, you're going to cut 7 pieces of card that look like that. Okay, and they are 9 7/8 long, and they're 6 1/4 deep. Okay, and you will need 7. So what we're going to do with these is I'm going to use my scoreboard. If you haven't got a scoreboard, you can measure out where you need to put your score marks. and then you can score them using a ruler and a tool, but for simple of ease. So placing the long side to the top of your scoreboard, okay, and on my tool you've got a thin end and a fatter end. I always use the fatter end, so it doesn't tend to split the card when you're folding it and stuff. And then I'm going to score this along the top side, so you've got the length across the top. I'm going to score it at 4 7/8. Let's go over that a couple of times, and then again at 5 inches. Okay, so you can see that you have 2 score marks, 4 7/8 and at 5 inches. Okay, do another piece. Place your long side at the top of your scoreboard, and you will score it 4 7/8 and again at 5. Okay, so once you've done that with all your 7 pieces, you'll then need to start folding. Now, I like to use it's a little bone folder thing that I have. It's a shaped one. It's thick that end, but it's flat at that end, so it's good for burnishing your score marks. Now these can be quite tricky. The side where you put your score marks, I like to fold against them, okay? Because if you fold the way you have scored it, if you score this side and then fold that way, it tends to split your card a bit. So I score it that side and then I fold it that side. Okay, so then all I'm going to do is take one side, fold it over like so, and then give it a good burnish like that. Okay, and then you need to fold it over the other way, and if you pull that card back a bit like that, so you've got about 1/8 of an inch gap from the edge, and then just run your fingers back towards the edge like that, and it will find that crease for you. Okay, and again burnish like that. So then you will have your little gullet bit there ready for stitching in to your cover. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go ahead and do these while you guys catch up, get your card cut. Write down your measurements. So remembering your file folders, you will need to cut 7 pieces of cardstock that measure 9 7/8 by 6 1/4. Okay, 7 pieces cut at that size, 9 7/8 by 6 1/4. Sorry if I keep repeating myself, I'm just trying to sort of get the measurements across to you. It's always better to, you know, as they say, measure a few times and cut once, or however you would like to phrase it, but it's always better to measure a couple of times. Make sure your measurements are correct. That's why I always keep it wrote down. I'm quite used to making these now myself, So for me, I don't even really need to look at my measurements. So please excuse that. That is the house phone ringing. I'm just going to ignore it. So I'm sorry if it bugs you. I'm going to ignore it for now because I'm busy in here. So whoever that is, can wait. It will stop ringing in a minute, I promise. That's some stuff on my card there. So once you've wrote down your measurements for your file folders, you'll also need to write down your score marks for where you need to put your scores for the gullet that needs to be stitched in to your cover. And your score marks will be at 4 7/8 of an inch, and then your second score mark will be at 5. So you have 1/8 of an inch gullet to stitch into your folder, or your cover, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so once you have them, okay, you have all your pieces there. They've all got that 1/8 of an inch gullet on now. Okay, so what we're going to do then is, this is where your templates come into play. Your 4 templates that you created in the last video. Then what you're going to do is get one of your folders. Okay, you can leave it folded or you can flatten it out like that, whichever you wish to do, whatever makes it easier for you. I just leave mine folded like that. Now your templates, you're going to need tab 1 for your first tab. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to, it's exactly the same size as your file folder. The only difference is there may be 1/8 of an inch gap on this side, so don't worry about that. Line up the edge of your tab with the edge of your paper, and then take a pencil, and then you're just going to draw around your template like so. Okay, then I like to do mine all at the same time. Then I'm going to open mine out. I'm getting tab 2, place it on the second piece, like so. Just make sure it's all lined up and that tab is on the edge of that piece of paper. And again, draw around your template like so. Okay, so you've used your templates for tab 1 and tab 2. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, using the envelope punch board, which is how we made our templates to begin with, so it's easier to use that. Where you've drawn round now you can get a pair of scissors and just cut this straight out if you wish to. I'm going to use my envelope punch board. I have my marks on there, so it is exactly the same as the punch board. I'm going to snip at the top and at the bottom of that edge, and then taking my scissors exactly the same way that you've done your template. Take your scissors, cut up that line, to where the notch, the bottom notches of the tab is that you just cut out. Okay, so you'll have that. Okay, and then with the second one on this side, again, I'm just going to use my punch board. Place one there. And one there. And again, using my scissors, where you've drawn the line around the edge of your template, cut up to where your tab is, like so. Okay, so you'll have that, and then when it's folded over, you'll have your first and your second tab. Okay, so that's that one. Move that back for a second. Get these bits of rubbish out of the way. Pull your rubbish up as you go along, because then you don't end up with a desk full of papers and things. Take another file, this time using tab 3. Okay, lay it on the top, like so. Make sure that edge is on the edge. Take your pencil and draw around your template. Okay, and then open it out, and on this side, take your tab 4. Again, place it on your file folder. Make sure that tab is right on the edge of that piece of paper and it's all straight and lined up. And again, use your pencil and just draw around the tab, like so. Okay, so you have used tab 3 and 4 this time. And again, using my punch board, I'm going to lay this in here and cut where my tabs are. Then using my scissors, cut up to that tab. You can lay this in your paper trimmer and cut up to where the tabs are if you find it easier. I just find it easier to use a pair of scissors, because then I know I'm not going to have an accident and I'm not going to cut that off and have to use another piece of card, which is very wasteful. And then I'm going to do this one. And then taking my scissors, let's snip off that bottom piece, and then cut along the line. Up to where the tab is. So then you should have that. Okay, so that's tab 3 and 4, and you've done tab 1 and 2. So when they're together, you will have that. Okay, now you need to repeat this for your other pieces of card, obviously taking it in turns, doing tab 1 and 2 and then 3 and 4. So the next one you want to do again is tab 1 and tab 2. Okay, and then tab 3 and tab 4. Now you need to do this for all 7 pieces. So I'm going to go away now and do that, and I will be back with you very, very shortly, and we can move on to the next piece. Okay, thanks guys, see you again soon.